Looks like the red pill community is finally going to war with the Christian masculinity movement. We're talking about Myron from Fresh and Fit attacking Sovereign Bra, Chase from the Whatever podcast about sexual morality and whether or not men should just go out and sleep with a bunch of women. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Top Report. I am your host, Joe Enders, and the red pill community. Yeah, they're coming after the Christian nationalists, the Christian masculinity movement. It's finally happened. The war has begun. They started this beef on Twitter. I think it was mostly prompted by more of Pearl's bait posting on X. Am I right about that?
Yeah, man, let's take a look at what she's got.
Okay. So this was one of the posts that I think kind of started getting things heated and stuff on the internet. It's one of them. There was many of them. I'm just putting this one up as an example. It aggravated me. Pearl says, I don't think porn has ruined as many marriages as people make it seem like it is. The real problem is probably a fat wife that he doesn't want to sleep with anymore for obvious reasons. So this is obviously more falsehood coming out of her mouth, like defending that, men can use pornography, that it's not actually harming marriages and things like that. This is what Pearl doesn't get. It harms marriages. It harms marriages in the sense that if you have a pornography problem before going into a marriage, it makes it more difficult to find a suitable partner. It makes it harder for you to get married. It makes you more awkward around women. It makes you more awkward in situations because what's on your mind, what you see in porn. There's all these problems that come with not being able to properly date somebody without having irreverent thoughts, without having problematic behaviors, and just a general lack of purity. And most of the people that watch porn, by the way, Pearl, are under the age of 30. So unmarried people are the ones watching porn, meaning they're jeopardizing their future chances of getting married. And we can see that in the statistics that less people are getting married than ever before. There's actually a chart. Ronan put up this chart where a quarter of 40-year-olds, 30 to 40-year-olds or something like that is unmarried in the United States right now. And that's the millennial generation. That's where we're at, guys. That's how bad things are. Anyways, this prompted a whole discussion and a whole debate between Chase and Myron. So Chase obviously had posted this before, but I think these people are all in group chats. Pearl, Myron, Andrew Tate, all that whole, red pill crowd are all in like this giant group chat. And I think they decided, okay, we're going to come at Christianity all as kind of a unified front. Myron is a Muslim, like I said, host of the Fresh and Fit podcast. And Chase posted this a while ago before that. So Chase was the one being attacked. Anyways, he posted this.
I personally speak out against male promiscuity. I think one of the worst problems in our world is promiscuity in general. I don't support dudes like sleeping with a ton of women. A lot of guys are like, if a guy has a high body count, dudes will be like, dude, nice. I think it's degenerate.
Like it's still like a hot girl, go for it.
Yeah, I think it's degenerate, personally.
It's like contributing to the problem with
exactly.
well.
A lot of influencers that are like, yeah, women with high body counts are bad, but also you as a man should go get laid as much as humanly possible. It's like, bro, you're literally advocating for men to contribute to the problem that you're calling out.
Yeah, and then he tweets out, red pill influencers, women with high body counts are bad. Also red pill influencers, go get laid as much as possible, sleep around with a bunch of women, spin plates, and avoid marriage because it's a scam. It's degenerate, hypocritical, and heavily contributes to the brokenness of our world. Take the Christ pill instead. 1 Thessalonians 4, 3 verses 8. That's when Paul talks about ridding yourself of sexual morality, treating all human beings as human beings, not using them as objects of pleasure for yourself. Yeah, and Chase is absolutely right about this point. Now, he was generally talking about red pill influencers. He didn't say anybody specifically, but Myron had to respond, and he responded specifically coming at Chase saying, Jesus can't save these, we'll say 304s, and neither can you. You trad cons need to realize feminism is here to stay and isn't going anywhere. Adapt to the new normal or keep getting married by the church and destroyed by the state. Myron might want to look into his own ideology a little bit, because if he claims to be a Muslim, you're not allowed to fornicate in Islam either. So what you doing, buddy? Hope your parents are getting that arranged marriage set up for you too. Yeah. Anyways, this idea that Jesus can't save somebody is entirely wrong. It's entirely wrong. I'm going to comment on what I think of some of these other things as we go through the video, but I want to highlight the one point about what he said, that Jesus can't save these 304s, which is you know what spelled on a calculator. Yes, he can. He can save anybody. He can forgive any sin. He can forgive a murderer. He made St. Paul an apostle, a bishop, and St. Paul had St. Stephen murdered while he was working with the Pharisees. He was persecuting the apostles. That's the type of thing that St. Paul was engaging in, and he was still forgiven and brought into the church. If you can be forgiven for that, you can be forgiven for your high body count. Anyways, here's what Chase had to say in response to this. He says, "You're deliberately deflecting, Myron. Stay on topic. I never said dudes need to be Captain Save a 304. I said influencers like you are hypocritical degenerates who are perpetuating the problem here. You criticize female promiscuity, as do I, but then you tell men it's good to sleep with tons of women, never get married, and cheat on their girlfriends and wives. You're making the problem worse, not building the solution. I am not here to adapt to feminism. I'm here to completely destroy it. Feminism will only be destroyed by returning Western civilization to a state of godly patriarchy, which is how God designed the world to work. This is the solution. This is the Christ pill. As a Muslim, you should understand these things." No, he should, because last I checked, don't Muslims believe that Jesus is a revered prophet? Oh, yeah. They do believe that Jesus is a revered prophet, and they honestly accept a lot of his teachings on morality. So the question then goes to, okay, so if this guy is claiming to be a Muslim, why is he trying to say that we need to adapt to feminism, that we need to bend our morality, that we need to change to things, you need to change things to do things like that? Islam doesn't have a fluid moral theology. They subscribe to the natural law. They believe in the things regarding marriage. They believe that, marriage is for life in many cases. They do obviously allow divorce in certain instances, but that is even stringent in Islam. So why is this happening? Why are these so-called Muslim influencers just saying treat women like trash? Treat women like, garbage that you can take and throw out. And it's because that Islam is a loveless religion where God doesn't even love you. You're just to obey him. It's a loveless religion. And when you have a loveless religion, you come to loveless conclusions like this. And the adapting to feminism, that's not even Islamic. He's not even following his own faith with that. Anyways, it goes on. Myron responds saying, "You think women worked since the 60s to regress, give up feminism, and to follow the Christ pill?" This is really dumb, because he says that women are going to regress as if they're regressing, like they're going to willfully make things worse for themselves. No, Myron, they would be progressing by taking the Christ pill, by converting to Christianity. In fact, feminism itself was a regression to primal urges of prideful urges, of doing what you think is best for you and safest for you. Sure, the natural conditions aren't the same. Sure, there's some philosophical nonsense that human beings would have never accepted in all of human history that are involved in it. But at the end of the day, it's succumbing to one's pride. At least back then, when women succumbed to their pride, it forced them into the arms of a man that would protect them for the rest of their lives. That has changed today. Now, men will still protect them and let them do all the things that they want. So obviously, that's a difference. But the reality is, a progression would be to do things selflessly as a wife, to act as the heart of the home, to get married, to have a lifelong commitment, to maintain your purity throughout your life. So that's nonsense. We're asking women to progress, not regress. The ultimate progression is attaining the kingdom of heaven, is it not? Muslims, is it not? Who doesn't agree with this? So anyways, going on, he says, "You're as delusional as the women you debate. The reality is these modern women aren't going to give an inch. Why would they stop behaving the way they do when they are absolutely rewarded for doing so? They can get simps to still give them traditional treatment while still behaving like whores in their peak years. They can get the best of both worlds with zero work, and society incentivizes and rewards them for doing so. That's all true. They're rewarded for acting a certain way. They're programmed to act a certain way. Okay. Well, how do you stop the programming? You just give up, is what it sounds like he's getting at here. Women can pretend, he says, women can pretend to be trad cons, then switch up at the last second and go back to feminist tactics and use divorce to destroy a man. The only way to deal with this is to adapt to the new normal because it's never going back. And I'm not even going to comment. I'm just going to go right to Chase's response because I think it's absolutely like stellar. This is a man telling me that women are permanently in charge of civilization and there's nothing men can do about it. WTF. Yeah, WTF. Guess the only thing we can do about it is give up and engage in degenerate promiscuity. It's so true. It's so true. Dude, you claim to be this masculine alpha male man, because you can go around and create more of the women that you criticize by making them into 304s, by saying that there's no hope for the institution of marriage. You're basically just surrendering, waving your white flag and saying, feminism is finished. Or feminism has finished us. I'm a man. I can't beat feminism. I'm not even going to try. All I'm going to do is get as much sexual pleasure as I can, act as degenerate as I can with women, create more female problems that are going to treat men badly, that are going to perpetuate exactly every single thing that you said. And this is like bore out in the statistics. With the number of sexual partners that a person has, the chances of divorce go up with every single one that you have. And you're contributing to that problem, Myron. That's not adaptation. That's what you would have actually call regression. You are regressing women. You are regressing them to feminism by sleeping with them. So anyways, I believe Myron responded to that as well and says, okay, since you have the answers, please explain how you're going to make all modern women in the U.S. take the Christ pill, stop being 304s, and become traditional virgin wives like it's 1920. I'll wait. That's a good question. And that question, I don't believe was answered. I think the thread just kind of ended there. And I think that the simple answer to that question is we got to make women better. We have to make women transcend their pasts. We have to basically cultivate them to become holier people. That doesn't mean the baggage isn't going to be gone. That doesn't mean that people aren't going to have problems in their relationships. But what we need to do is find at least a certain number of women that are willing to overcome their pasts, overcome their flaws. And we need to find men who are promiscuous as well, willing to do those same things, because almost all of us did. We grew up in a porn culture. We grew up in a fornication culture. I used to watch porn. I used to fornicate. These are the sorts of things that people got involved in a mainstream normal culture. We have to overcome those things and transcend those things. That's why I got married. Because I believed that I finally had transcended the problems of my past and could move forward with a good woman. Now, I was lucky enough to marry a virgin. I was lucky enough to have that opportunity, somebody that shares my faith, somebody that even shares my ethnic heritage and tradition. So I get to raise my kids that way. Those are all blessings, and those are all things that men should seek as well. If you can find that, take it any day of the week. A woman with values, a woman that wants to stay at home, that cares about her faith, a woman that believes that if she were to divorce you, that she would burn in the lake of fire for eternity. Find women like that, or explain to women through evangelism that that is their destination if they're involved in these sorts of behaviors. You need to transform people. The gospel transformed people. If we have such a short memory, it's amazing, because 2,000 years ago, the Romans would share their wives in orgies. The Romans would get divorced. They would engage in homosexuality with one another. There was bathhouses, public baths, where women's wives would bathe naked in front of other men. There was all sorts of sexual degeneracy. And then the gospel came in and people were transformed. Kids were raised properly. They were given the good news. And that was despite their pasts. If the Roman Empire could turn into medieval Christendom where everybody had values, why can't ours? You'd rather adapt and torch more people with your immoral actions by torching their morality, taking away their purity, and taking away their innocence? How stupid. How stupid of a solution is that? See, Myron doesn't want to build a new civilization. He doesn't want to build a better future or tomorrow. He wants to get his rocks off and move on to the next person. And that's not Muslim. That's not Christian. It has nothing to do with either of those faiths. I'm building a values-based civilization. I believe that Chase wants to build a values-based civilization. And you know what? I see us succeeding and them failing. These types of ideas are going to fade into obscurity as more people start exploring the Christian faith, specifically the Catholic faith, which it's all rooted in. But Myron, obviously, he didn't get his response. And because he didn't get his response from Chase, I don't know if this was after or before, but he goes up and posts this and tries to slander Chase. And I don't like this either because, I'm acquainted with Chase. I'll admit it. Like, he's a friend of mine. Like, I've talked to him about faith and many other things in the past. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude. And then this guy comes out and just starts bad-mouthing him. He posts this up about him.
You're not a virgin, but you're waiting until marriage now, correct?
I'm continuing to do my best to maintain abstinence.
Was there a
Cryptic.
There
There was a
has
break.
been-
Cryptic.
I have. I will say. I am not above temptation.
No, Chase.
Yeah, dude, it's over. Over. It's so over. It is
okay.
over.
So to give
someone
people
tempt you?
context, Chase,
Bachelor days.
my understanding, the last time you were on, or in previous shows you were on, you had been celibate for 2 years, 2.5 years?
There was
3
a break
years.
in the syllabus.
3 years.
No longer.
Chase, are you saying that you broke your celibacy?
Jesus, man.
Chase?
I fell into temptation, bro.
Chase.
Oh
need to
my
get in church.
goodness.
He was tempted. Chase,
How does Andrew feel
I'm
about
not
that?
mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, Andrew.
Bro.
Did you repent?
You think you're
some
the only
repentance
one,
here.
bro? I knew I would have to own this coming on today.
So this is how Myron responded to this. He says, "Is this the guy leading us to the Christ pill? Seems he engages in the same promiscuity he shames me for. Checkmate." Well, no, first of all, that's 100% wrong. I want to kind of defend Chase a little bit here because I it's wrong what he did, if he was engaging in those things. But here's the difference between Myron and Chase. Chase knows what he did was wrong. And he even said it there. He says he even said to Brian on the whatever podcast, he's like, you think you're the one who's disappointed? You're the only one who's disappointed? He's obviously disappointed in himself too. And look, everybody's at different points in their faith journey, right? Everybody's on different points in their path. Eventually, the point is to sanctify yourself, to overcome your sins. And by the way, I don't know that, Chase is a man of, obviously, exceptional virtue, like above the rest or anything like that. But there are men much greater than Chase, much greater than I, much greater than you, have said exactly similar things on their own faith journeys. Here's St. Augustine of Hippo. He very clearly says this in his book, The Confessions. "O Master, make me chaste and celibate, but not yet." That's what a saint said. That's somebody who is considered a saint and one of the doctors of the church, one of the people that developed our moral theology, much of which is related to sexuality, Catholic Christian sexuality. So when we look at all of this, the entire thing from the bigger picture, this man is chastising a person who's clearly sorry for the errors that he was engaging in, trying to overcome them because he went 3 years beating that temptation and then gave into it, came on anyways and owned it. Last I checked, that is a masculine thing to do. But, Myron's probably watching a little bit too much of the Tate brothers and thinks that owning up to your mistakes is actually feminine and lame and weak. I don't know. I find, dude, wouldn't that be a hard thing to admit when you were called out for it?
Most definitely.
I give Chase a lot of credit for coming out and saying that. So overall, yes, there are answers to this guy's question. And Myron, I'm happy to have you. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to come on your show and talk to you with other people. I'm happy to have you come on here and talk to me. I'm happy to talk about all of these things anytime with you. I'm happy to talk with Chase all the time. I'm going to talk to Chase after this episode. This sort of thing, this is not how you act in a virtuous world. You don't call people out for things that they're trying to change. That's like yelling at a fat person while he's on the treadmill for being fat and lazy. Well, dude, when somebody's trying to change something, you need to encourage them. You need to push them. You need to push them to be better. And yeah, people advocating against things like promiscuity that have struggled with it in the past, or that maybe even currently struggling with it, are telling you that it's bad and it's dangerous. I mean, would you not listen to that person? Would you listen to a heroin addict who's losing all of his teeth that still does heroin, telling you that you shouldn't do heroin? I sure as hell would.
I would too.
That's the point. We are sinners. That's true. And yes, we have to change. We have to discard ourselves. We have to shed our sins. We have to ask forgiveness for our sins. But there's no reason to go and attack people that know what they did was wrong and are trying to change it. So I want everybody to search your hearts and obviously pray for Chase to overcome whatever problems that he might be going through. And I also want you guys to pray for Myron, that he comes to the realization that he actually can build a better tomorrow and does not have to adapt to the degenerate today. I think that's a good note to wrap it up on, Ronan. You got anything?
Wrap it up, man.
Guys, you gotta follow us on Instagram. You gotta follow us on X. You need to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you always know when we are dropping new content. And we're gonna be getting back to you on the financials. It's in the works. It's coming soon. Don't worry, you'll get it. And with that said, guys, that's all we got for this episode of Red Top Report. God bless.